good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. So this morning I'm doing something completely different. I've come down to Port Edgar at South Queensferry in Edinburgh. There was a kind of hope that we would get a sunrise. I'm not so sure that's going to happen, but what we're trying to do is capture some kind of darkness shots of the Queensferry Bridge. I was hoping that the Forth Road Bridge and the Forth Rail Bridge would be lit up, but they're not. So I'm meeting Bruce here this morning. I've got here about 20 minutes early, so I'm starting to take some shots before Bruce arrives, and then we'll catch up when we see Bruce. So join us and let's see where this different journey takes us this morning. I'm using my phone as a torch to light me up because it's far too dark, and it's about, what time is it? It's about 7:10 in the morning. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm taking a couple of shots with really long exposures just because it's really dark. And what I'm trying to do is get different compositions of the Queensferry Bridge. So what I've done is the tide is out, but I'm experimenting between a 15 and 30 second exposure, and what I'm trying to do is have an f-stop of f16, because what I want to try and do is get some starbursts in the lights. So what I'll do is I'll keep taking these images, and if they work out I'll share them with you. And as I'm talking to you and I'm looking east, I can see that the sky's starting to lighten up a bit, so there is a good chance that we might get a sunrise or some type of colour in about 45 minutes time.
You're a lonely sailor, and your soul is made of wind and rain, doubts and blame.
I'm using the phone again to light us up because it's still dark. Bruce has arrived, so we're about to get cracking. Let's see what compositions we can get, and you never know, Bruce, we might get something nice this morning.
You know, it's something different, eh?
Here's hoping. Alright, catch up soon. Alright, so what we've been doing is we've just been taking photographs of different areas. I'll just put my torch on. So we've been taking shots of different areas. What I've been doing is taking shots of the Queensferry Bridge, the Forth Road Bridge, and now what I'm doing is taking shots of the Forth Rail Bridge side on. We've had the dark sky, now the sun's starting to come up. What I'm not sure of is, are we going to get a sunrise? Sunrise isn't due for another 15-20 minutes, but we'll keep taking these shots, and as it's getting lighter we're having to continually adjust our settings. So earlier I was shooting at f16 and 30 second exposure. Now it's having to get faster and faster, so I'm still keeping my f-stop at f16, but I'm having to speed up my shutter speed all the time to compensate for the new light that keeps coming in. So what I'll do is I'll keep taking these images, and if they turn out I'll share them with you just now.
Hey, don't you wanna come and run away with me? Hey, won't you come and say by chance, don't you want me, a man who fully understands a sailor's heart, a sailor's heart.
Alright, so I've switched to the long lens, because what I want to try and do, there looks like oil terminals under the Forth Rail Bridge, and what I want to try and do is get a composition where they're in frame. So when you use the long lens on a tripod, if you can, switch to manual focus and manual in, but turn your image stabilizer off. And the reason we turn the image stabilizer off is there is that risk of some kind of movement with the adjustment in the lens, and it might give you a little bit of motion blur in your image. So we always recommend you turn your stabilizer off. So what I'll do is I'll take a number of shots with a long lens, and then I'll share those images with you. And then maybe with all the images that Bruce shares, if we did like we did with the car run, if Bruce shares a few of his images with me from this morning, then we'll share Bruce's images as well.
Hey, don't you wanna come and run away with me? Hey, won't you you come, won't you come? And say by chance, don't you want me? A man who fully understands a sailor's heart, a sailor's heart. You're a born survivor, and you'll never find yourself in love. You're wise enough.
Alright, so we're packing up here, and we've had a lot of chat. Where's Bruce went? There he is. We've had a lot of chat, and we've taken quite a lot of shots, so we'll share all those other shots that we've taken, and now we're going to walk round the other side of the harbour. So we'll join up at the other side.
A sailor's heart. You're a born survivor, and you'll never find yourself in love. You're wise enough. I got troubles, I got sins, I'm my worst enemy, but I still got a lot to give. So I said, hey, don't you wanna come and run away?
Alright, so we've just come to the edge of the pier here, and I've noticed there's a life belt sticking to the fence there, so what I've done is I've just set up the camera and taken a couple of shots. Bruce is taking some reflection shots there. There's a big massive puddle. I have to take this shot. Look, that's dedication for you. Bruce is getting right down, lying on the ground, the wet ground I might add, to get that shot. So hopefully when Bruce is taking that shot, he'll share it with us so we can show you. And then what I'll do is I'll walk forward, and then I'll show you the harbour, because the tide's out at the moment, and if I do a kind of sweep and turn, this is Port Edgar, that's Queen's Ferry Crossing, Forth Road Bridge and the Forth Rail Bridge. Alright, so Port Edgar, and then we've got the old port wall on the other side of the harbour here. This harbour was built in 1810, and it was a pier that was built so that it could support the fishermen in the area. But the Admiralty actually acquired the port in 1916 and commissioned it as HMS Columbine. And what they wanted to do was establish it as a base for destroyers during World War I. But after World War I, this then closed in 1928. But with the advent of World War II, the Royal Navy required the Port Edgar again and returned in 1939. And what they were doing is they were commissioning it as Loch Inver. So it was then became a facility for minesweepers, and it kept continuing as a minesweeper harbour until the war had finished, and it actually closed in 1975. But this whole area of Port Edgar, as you can see, has been all regenerated, and in 1978 it was acquired by the kind of former Lothian Regional Council in Edinburgh, and it developed the site into the Marina and Sailing School as we know it now. If I turn round, so there's been a whole bunch of redevelopment going on, and the marina has been developed into kind of support over 300 berths for boats. And in 2014 the site was acquired by the Port Edgar Holdings Limited, so it's now no longer in the council's ownership. But you can see, and it absolutely has benefited from the regeneration that's been going on. It's just a shame the weather It's just a shame that we haven't had a sunrise and the weather's kind of against us, but like ever, we'll make the best and the most of what we've got, and let's see what interesting compositions we can find. Alright, so I'm going to walk along the end of this pier, and I was sharing with Bruce earlier that there's a building here just on my left, but at night time it's all lit up, and it might make quite a nice automotive photo opportunity sometime in the future, but we would need to get permission to bring the cars on here, and I think that would be quite special. Anyway, I'll keep walking and I'll report back when we get to the end of this pier. Right, we'll just walk, we'll see how far we can go. There's a gate here, but I can keep walking to the end of the pier. I've got a whole bunch of pigeons in front of me for company. And what I'm looking for is just any kind of interest in shapes, lines, and as you can see, pigeons are flying. There's the marina, there's the Fourth Princess over here that's used for the Fourth tours, and some beautiful boats moored here. Right, what I'll do is I'll look for a few compositions and then let's see what we can capture. I've seen a nice wee composition here, so it's not a boat, but what it is there's the life ring on the wall, and there's an old rusty key where you would put the rope round for the boats. So what I've done is I've changed my shutter speed, and I've increased my shutter speed to 1/4 of a second. I've reduced my f-stop to 5.6 because, and I'm still using ISO 100, and the reason I've put the f-stop to 5.6 is I don't need all the detail behind it, and I want the life belt to be that focal point, and I want some blurriness in the background. So I'm hoping that that life belt becomes sharp, and that might turn out to be quite a nice.
Won't you come and say by chance,
So I've seen a nice cream boat in the distance with a wooden cabin, but I've got the 2 rows of the yachts here as a frame as I shoot into the boat, and when I zoom in on the camera, it's Widgeon of Realm is the name of the boat. So I'm just going to zoom in a wee bit further now, and I'll refocus. I'll take that shot, and that could be quite a nice image because of that boat. So what I'm also looking for is I'm looking for kind of industrial type artifacts like big bolts, the chains, some of these rope guides. So I'll keep walking along, and let's see what other interesting compositions we can get. What I don't want to do is just use this as a basis for photographing a boat. I want to see if there's other areas of interest, just so that we've got a wee bit of diversity in this morning. So as I've been walking along, I have found a symmetrical shot here. So let's get the camera in position. Let's have a wee look what we can get. So that cream boat that we were shooting earlier is now at the top of this image, and what I'll do is I'll use the jetty as a leading line. I'm trying to get it symmetrical as much as I possibly can. I'm still shooting at 5.6 because what that will do is it should make some of the foreground out of focus and use it as a leading line up towards that boat, and you never know, that could be quite an interesting shot. Right, so what I found here is there's a yacht, but if I look at the cabin door, quite a nice wooden effect with all the white paintwork, and for this angle it actually looks quite nice. I'm just trying to see if there's any more. So there's a couple more, there's 2 that I can get together, and there's some quite nice reflections in the water. What I might do is speed up the shutter speed to 1/6 of a second. I'm still shooting at 5.6, and that's coming up really clear. So I know my uncle will like this because he loves boats and he's really good at researching names of boats and finding out the history of the boats. So Uncle Graham, I hope you enjoy this. Alright, so got some nice shots and there's some nice colours of the boats here. What I'm looking for is kind of patterns, if I possibly can. So I'll keep moving up.
Won't you come and say by chance, don't you want a man who fully understands, fully understands.
So on the right hand side here, there's a couple of specialist boats, Wave Spirit and Wave Dancer, and they're owned by the Brayfoot Terminal Marine Operations. So this, and then as we go further up, there's quite a nice looking rib that must be used for tours. If I turn back, you'll get to see the boats on this side, and we've got a really nice view of the three arches on the Forth Rail Bridge, the old Forth Road Bridge and the new Queen's Ferry crossing. So I've just spotted the kind of famous in this area tour boat called the Maid of the Forth. So what I'll do is I'll try and get quite a nice wee composition set up here, and let me just speed up that shutter speed to now 1/8 of a second. I'll take the shot, that could be quite nice. So now what I'll do is I'll zoom in and I'll get a close-up shot of the boat there, take the shot. Again, I'm still shooting at 5.6, but I'm increasing my shutter speed. And yeah, it's a record shot. None of these are going to be competition winners this morning. However, it's just nice to be somewhere different and experience the movements and the shapes and the shadows and the reflections. The tide's way out just now. And what time is it? It's still only 9:15 in the morning. The wind's starting to pick up and it's getting really, really cold. I think I've spotted a heron. So what I might do is try and get a shot of that heron, but I'll do it handheld just in case. Alright, so I've walked to the very end of the pier, and what I'll do is I'll turn around because you can see there's a control house here that the harbour master must use. So I'll turn it round and then that'll give you a better view of what I can see. Let me just decrease. And then over here, we're up at the very end of the pier now, and what we can see is the Maid of the Forth tour ship, and then there's a couple of ribs and various others. So what I'll do is I'll look for some shots and get some close-up images of some of these boats. And as I go around, we've got some more tour boats below me, and this is Forth Bell, and as you can see, it's quite reminiscent of what you would see in Holland on the rivers there. And as I walk down past the harbour master's station, I think Bruce is on his way up, and you'll just make Bruce out at the end of the pier there. So if I just have a wee turn around, have a wee peek in, there you can start to see all the phones and the microphones and the notes and the mobile phones for the harbour masters to sit in. So what I'll do is I'll take some more shots here and then I'll share those images with you. At the harbour master's station, but it looks quite, so I've taken some shots of it front on. Bruce is getting lower, so when Bruce is finished, what I'll do is I'll move over there and see if we can get a shot up the way so that it looks like those ropes that are coming down are like a fan effect on the way up. If we had known about this location, we would have been here in the dark, because you would hope that those lights are on and it might make a better image. But what we'll do is we'll keep plugging away and see if we can actually get a shot here, because it's an area we've never been to and it's quite unique.
That's a good one.
The better portrait.
Oh no, that will. Aye, must come back here at night, definitely.
Oh, this would be cracking at night.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Right, so what I wanted to do was get under it a wee bit. And then see.
Aye, that'll be better. Yeah.
There we go. Oh. But Bruce was sharing with me that he spotted this dummy that looks like, well, it might be a dummy or it might be a person, but somebody's sleeping in the back of the boat. So you never know. This could be quite a nice shot. And now we've got a different angle. So we'll just take this shot, because it's quite funny. Obviously they've got a sense of humour, these guys, which is good. Alright, so I'm going to finish the video here because we've got yellow weather warnings for heavy rain this morning, and the wind we can feel starting to pick up. But just in case we don't get to finish off and wander elsewhere, we'll use this to end the video.
And we can smell bacon rolls.
And we can definitely smell bacon rolls, so we might just end up going for something to eat. And if we can do a wee sneaky film, we might do a wee sneaky film of us having our coffee and our bacon roll. But hopefully we've got enough images. Hopefully there's quite a bit of diversity in the images. If Bruce shares us half a dozen or whatever images.
Well, if I've got half a dozen good ones.
And then he always has good ones. So if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you know it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that'll let you know the next time I post a video. But thanks again to Bruce.
Just yep.
It's been good company this morning and we've learned a lot. And I'm really hoping that the footage of Bruce lying on the wet ground to get a reflection shot works.
That'll be a treat for everyone.
And that'll be a nice shot to share with us. So thanks very much, and here's to the next video.